Welcome, spicy ladies. Being a Sigma female isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. She doesn't spend money to impress, to fit in, or to chase illusions. In a world where people burn cash trying to keep up, she plays by different rules. Her decisions are sharp, her priorities unshakable. She sees through the traps, the overpriced status symbols, the fake self-improvement scams, the relationships that only exist if she pays to maintain them. She walks right past them. She values substance over show, freedom over obligation. If something doesn't add real value to her life, it's just noise. And she has no time for noise. This isn't about rejection. It's about power. The power to say, I don't need that to feel important. The power to invest in what actually matters. While others are busy chasing trends and spending to be seen, she builds. She sharpens. She evolves. This is why people can't figure her out. She doesn't buy into the hype, yet she thrives. She doesn't follow the script, yet she moves with quiet confidence. She knows what she's doing, and that makes her unstoppable. Let the world keep selling illusions. A Sigma female, she's only buying what fuels her growth. But before I give you these signs today, let me request you spicy ladies to hit that subscribe button. If you love what I do, I bless your heart. Number 1. Validation through luxury brands. Here's the thing about Sigma females. They don't dress to prove anything to anyone. You won't see them chasing logos just to flex for the crowd. If the only thing a luxury brand can offer is status, they're not buying it. And it's not because they can't afford it. It's because they don't need it. They've outgrown the phase where their worth was tied to labels. While the world runs on image and first impressions, a Sigma female builds her presence from something much deeper. She doesn't need to wear a $1,000 outfit to feel valuable. Her confidence doesn't come from a tag. It comes from within. Let's be real, there's a huge difference between having style and buying trends. Sigma females know how to dress in a way that speaks for them without screaming for attention. They choose pieces that feel authentic, not just expensive. Every outfit is a reflection of who they are, not a bait for approval. When someone walks into a room draped in luxury from head to toe, but with no real sense of self, a Sigma female can spot it instantly. It's like watching someone wear armor made of insecurity. She sees right through it. Because real power doesn't ask to be noticed. It doesn't beg for compliments. And it definitely doesn't live on a price tag. That's why a Sigma female doesn't use luxury to feel powerful. She is powerful, and that alone makes anything she wears look valuable. Whether it's a $20 jacket or a thrifted find, she wears it with so much presence that people notice her, not just her clothes. So, if you've ever felt like you don't need the flash to feel seen, you're not alone. That quiet confidence, that's your superpower. You don't need to buy validation. You are the statement. Number 2. Lavish weddings and extravagant proposals. When it comes to love and relationships, a Sigma female doesn't buy into the theatrics. While some may dream of a lavish wedding with fireworks lighting up the sky, or an extravagant proposal with the crowd's applause, she's not impressed. For her, love isn't a show. It's a deeply personal connection rooted in authenticity and trust. She doesn't need a spectacle to prove her commitment. There's no need for grand gestures to validate her feelings. Whether it's a quiet evening spent sharing a meal or a simple handwritten note, the Sigma female knows that true love doesn't need a stage. It's in the little moments, the deep conversations, and the trust that builds over time. A love built on real connection doesn't require fireworks or dramatic displays. It just requires understanding and respect. In her eyes, relationships are not performances for social media. While others might try to outdo each other with lavish proposals or Instagram-worthy moments, she sees through the noise. What matters most to her is the quality of the relationship, not the quantity of applause or likes from an audience. She values a connection that's built on substance, not showmanship. She doesn't need a wedding or proposal that costs a fortune to feel special. Her ideal day doesn't involve an expensive venue or over-the-top decorations. It's about the person she chooses to spend her life with. Someone who sees her for who she truly is, not the version she's been dressed up to be for an audience. The wedding, if it happens, is simple, intimate, and true to who they are as a couple. In the end, Sigma females know that love is not about performing for others. It's about creating something real and meaningful with someone who sees, understands, and accepts you completely. And that's priceless, no matter how much money you spend on a ring or a ceremony. Number 3, girl boss merchandise. You've seen it everywhere. Mugs that say girl boss, t-shirts that scream slay queen, notebooks with glittery hustle harder prints. It's a whole industry built around branding ambition like it's a trend. But here's the truth. A Sigma female doesn't need a slogan to remind her who she is. She doesn't buy into the performance of power. That girl boss label feels more like a costume than confidence to her. If your strength needs to be written on a coffee cup to be real, then maybe it's not as strong as you think. Sigma females live that drive every day. Quietly, relentlessly, not for show, not for applause, just because it's who they are. They don't need glitter to feel gritty. They don't need a motivational quote printed on their hoodie to push forward. They're already doing the work behind the scenes while others are posing for it. And let's be honest, most of that merchandise isn't about empowerment. It's marketing. It's fluff. It's a quick hit of feel-good energy without any real depth behind it. But Sigma females crave depth. They want meaning, not mantras. She doesn't need to announce her ambition. Her results speak for themselves. You might not hear her coming, but you'll feel the impact she leaves behind. She doesn't yell boss. She moves like one. And here's the part people don't always get. Sigma females don't reject this stuff to be edgy or different. They just know the difference between real power and packaged power. One comes from discipline, inner fire, and a refusal to quit. The other comes from a marketing team trying to make money off your insecurities. So, no, she doesn't need a mug to feel like a leader. She doesn't need a shirt to say she's unstoppable. She's living it with or without the merch. And that quiet confidence, that's what makes her unforgettable. Number 4, memberships to exclusive social clubs. Let's be clear, Sigma females aren't out here begging for a seat at someone else's table. They're not swiping cards or dropping cash just to feel included in a room that doesn't speak their language. Those so-called exclusive clubs, the ones with velvet ropes, fake smiles, and expensive drinks? Yeah, she's not interested. A Sigma female doesn't pay to feel accepted. She knows that if you have to buy your way in, you were never really wanted there to begin with. And even worse, those kinds of spaces often expect you to dim your light, play a role, or follow unspoken rules just to keep your spot. That's the part she refuses. She doesn't crave external validation. She doesn't need a group to tell her she's worthy. If she doesn't naturally belong somewhere, she doesn't force it. She leaves. Her independence is too valuable to trade for champagne and shallow conversation. And let's be honest, most of these exclusive clubs, they're not really about meaningful connection. They're about status, image, control. They sell the illusion of belonging, but quietly expect conformity in return. But a Sigma female, she can't be molded. She'll walk alone before she walks in chains. She'd rather build her own circle or stay solo or sit in a quiet room with her peace and her plans than mingle in spaces that feel like performance art. She's not trying to be seen. She's trying to be real. And if that makes her the outsider, so be it. Because what she understands is this: true belonging doesn't come with a price tag. And real power isn't found in access. It's found in authenticity. She doesn't need a gold membership to feel valuable. She already knows her worth, and that's something no club can offer. Number 5, high-energy social event tickets. The world is full of loud, high-energy events, nightclubs, concerts, festivals, and parties where everyone's chasing the next high, hoping to find a fleeting moment of excitement. But for a Sigma female, that's just noise. She's not interested in buying a ticket to chaos. She knows that while the world screams for attention, her true peace and fulfillment come in quieter, more meaningful spaces. She'd rather invest in the solitude of a silent forest than a crowded, flashing nightclub. The hype of external energy rarely feeds her inner world. In fact, it often drains her. She's selective with her energy. She understands the value of space, stillness, and introspection. While others may thrive on the rush of loud music and social chaos, She's the one who finds comfort in the quiet corners of life where the only sounds are the whispers of nature or the hum of her own thoughts. This doesn't mean she's antisocial. Sigma females know how to engage in the right kind of social energy, but it's never about the external noise. It's about the connection, the quality, and the depth. Being around a crowd just for the sake of it isn't her style. She seeks conversations that make her think, spaces that make her feel alive on a deeper level. High-energy events often feel like a distraction from what really matters. They promise excitement, but rarely offer fulfillment. So instead of investing in the overpriced ticket to a fleeting thrill, a Sigma female would rather spend her time in places that nurture her soul. Whether that's in nature, at home with a book, or in a quiet cafe with one or two close friends, her peace is more valuable than any party can ever promise. Number 6. The latest tech just to keep up. The world's obsessed with the next big thing. The latest phone, the newest laptop, the gadget that's just a little bit better than the one before. But for a Sigma female, all this chasing after the next tech upgrade feels like a trap. She doesn't fall for the endless cycle that so many people blindly chase. She sees right through it. The constant release of slightly improved versions of the same devices isn't progress. It's a strategy to make you feel outdated the moment you leave the store. Sigma females know that companies are brilliant at manipulating consumers, feeding them the illusion of necessity, convincing them that they need the latest tech to stay relevant or on top of things. But to her, it's nothing more than a clever marketing scheme designed to create desire for something that's essentially just a version of the same product with a few minor tweaks. She doesn't need to upgrade her phone every year to prove she's on the cutting edge. Why? Because she understands that technology is just a tool, not the definition of her worth or identity. If the device still serves its purpose and does what she needs, there's no need to keep upgrading. The constant cycle of upgrades might be appealing to some, but she's not interested in being part of the rat race. For a Sigma female, it's all about being intentional with what she owns. She's not impressed by the latest model, nor does she feel the pressure to constantly keep up with the newest trends. Her value isn't tied to having the latest gadget. It's tied to the way she uses the things she already has, choosing quality over the mindless chase for more. In her world, the newest tech isn't an essential. It's just another distraction to avoid. She chooses to spend her time on things that matter, not on what companies are telling her she needs next. Number 7. Lifestyle that screams, "Look at me." In a world obsessed with status symbols, where social media is flooded with luxury cars, designer homes, and flashy accessories, the Sigma female stands apart. She doesn't need to buy a shiny car or a sprawling mansion to prove her worth. She invests in what makes sense, not what makes noise. For her, material possessions aren't a way to announce her success. They're tools for living a life that fits her needs and values. While others may chase after the latest trend or show off their luxury purchases, she's thinking about practicality, sustainability, and what truly brings her comfort. A fancy car? Maybe it's nice, but she'd rather invest in something that supports her lifestyle. Whether it's a reliable vehicle for travel or the freedom to work remotely from anywhere, her home isn't a display of wealth or a showpiece to impress people. It's her sanctuary. It's where she finds peace, where she can create, and where she's most herself. Instead of filling it with expensive decor to catch the eye of others, she fills it with things that bring meaning: books, art, plants, and the tools that fuel her passions. The Sigma female doesn't need validation from others. She doesn't need to shout, "Look at me," because her confidence is quiet, unshakable, and comes from within. Her success isn't measured by what she owns or what others think of her. It's about living authentically and aligning her possessions with her true desires. This doesn't mean she's against luxury. She just doesn't let it define her. If it fits her life and serves her purpose, then it's worth considering. But flashy status symbols? Those are for the people who need to feel seen. She's too busy building a life that's meaningful to care about anything else. Her worth isn't on display. It's in her actions, her choices, and the life she's carefully crafted. Number 8. Friendships that require maintenance fees. For some, friendship is a transaction. It's all about what you can give and get. Who's buying the drinks? Who's giving the gifts? Who's paying for the next dinner out? But not for a Sigma female. She doesn't need to buy her way into anyone's life. If friendship requires constant maintenance fees, she's already made her choice. Solitude over superficiality. She knows that real friendships aren't measured by the size of a gift or the frequency of a pricey outing. Genuine connection doesn't need to be paid for in material ways. A true friend values your time, your energy, your authenticity, not how much you're willing to spend to keep their attention. Sigma females understand the difference between true companionship and those shallow pay-to-play relationships. They don't see value in friendships that demand a constant flow of gifts, money, or favors to stay relevant. If someone's only interested in you because you bought them something, they're not really interested in you. They're interested in what you bring to the table. And let's be honest, Sigma females aren't here for that. They can't stand the thought of relationships built on transactional terms. They don't want to spend their energy on people who only show up for the perks. If you want them in your life, you'd better be there for the real version of them. No strings attached, no hidden agendas. This doesn't mean a Sigma female isn't generous. She just doesn't want to feel like she has to buy affection or validation. She values the kind of friendships that are built on mutual respect, emotional support, and shared experiences, not superficial exchanges. So, if a friendship feels like a series of purchases instead of genuine moments shared, she'll walk away without hesitation. Because at the end of the day, her time and energy are priceless, and she'll spend them with those who understand that. Number 9, aesthetic-based spirituality. In today's world, spirituality often looks like a curated Instagram feed. Crystals stacked perfectly on a shelf, incense burning in the background, and tarot cards laid out for the aesthetic. But for a Sigma female, that whole approach feels like a show. She's not buying into the trend. Spirituality isn't something she wears for attention or to look mysterious. It's sacred to her, something that aligns with her soul and guides her through life, not something to display for validation. The idea of purchasing crystals, incense, or tarot cards just because they're on brand is foreign to her. If she adds any of these items to her space, it's because they hold meaning, not because they're a cool decoration to post about. She understands that real spirituality isn't something that can be packaged. It's not a mood board or a hashtag. It's something you live, something you connect with on a deep personal level. The rituals she practices, the objects she uses, are chosen with intention, not for how they'll look in a perfectly filtered photo. There's no look to her spiritual journey. It's not for show. It's for the soul. When a Sigma female turns to tools like crystals or meditation, it's because they hold personal significance to her growth, healing, and inner peace. She isn't reaching for them to fit into a trending category of spiritual influencer. She's seeking balance, clarity, and connection. For her, spirituality is a private journey, one that's nourished through inner work and reflection, not by collecting pretty objects or posting spiritual quotes for likes. It's about depth, wisdom, and authenticity. True power isn't in the crystals, it's in how they help her find alignment with herself. She doesn't need the world to understand her practices. She just needs them to work for her. So, while others flaunt their aesthetic-based spirituality for clout, she's quietly cultivating a deep, real connection with herself. And that's a force to be reckoned with. Number 10, healing retreats with a price tag. There's this idea that you can just buy your way to healing, book a weekend retreat in Bali, attend a life-changing seminar, or sign up for an overpriced wellness getaway, and suddenly you'll be fixed. But a Sigma female knows the truth. Healing isn't something you can purchase. It's something you fight for. She doesn't need a fancy resort or a guru to tell her what's broken inside. Healing isn't a one-size-fits-all experience. And no beautifully packaged weekend retreat can give you the tools to conquer your inner battles. It's a war inside yourself. And you don't win that war by paying for an escape or a temporary fix. You win it by showing up, doing the work, and having the courage to face your darkness head on. Sigma females know that real healing is messy, uncomfortable, and long-term. It's not about hitting a reset button for a weekend. It's about tearing down walls, confronting the parts of yourself that no one wants to face, and slowly, steadily, building yourself back up stronger than before. This doesn't happen in a couple of days, surrounded by strangers, drinking coconut water on the beach. It happens in the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts, choosing growth over comfort, and pushing through pain without a VIP pass. These retreats might offer temporary peace, but they can't replace the work it takes to truly heal. True healing requires a commitment to yourself that no retreat can offer. It's about consistency, introspection, and a willingness to keep going even when it feels like progress isn't happening fast enough. A Sigma female isn't buying healing. She's living it day by day, step by step. And that's the kind of healing that sticks. It's not something you can pay for. It's something you earn. Conclusion: the power of knowing what you don't need. Being a Sigma female isn't about rejecting everything. It's about choosing wisely. It's about knowing your worth without price tags, standing firm in your values without external validation, and refusing to be manipulated by trends, status symbols, or empty promises. In a world that constantly tells you to buy more, fit in, and seek approval, a Sigma female does the opposite. She moves with purpose. She doesn't spend money to prove anything to anyone. She doesn't buy relationships, attention, or social acceptance. She refuses to let corporations, influencers, or peer pressure dictate what she should own, wear, or chase. This isn't about minimalism. It's about power. The power of self-awareness. The power of not being owned by what you own. The power of choosing investments over impulses, depth over display, and peace over pressure. Being a Sigma female means you are in control, not society, not trends, not expectations. You decide what's valuable in your life. That's why people can't figure you out. That's why they envy your freedom. While others feel lost in an endless cycle of proving themselves, you quietly build a life that actually means something. So keep making choices that align with your soul, not society's script. Stay sharp, stay independent, stay true. Because in the end, you are not what you own. You are what you build, what you stand for, and what you refuse to compromise on. And that is priceless. Thank you for watching, Spicy Ladies. And God bless you.